Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Techie Tuesdays. I'm your host S. Ravi Kumar. Techie Tuesdays is a weekly show where I answer your tech and career related queries. So if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. Now let's get started with today's questions. Today's first question is by Ranjan Kumar. He's asking, can we really become a web developer in 3 months? Ranjan, the answer to your question is both yes as well as no. Yes, you can complete or learn web development in 3 months and work as a freelancer or search for job as a freelancer by showcasing your skills or some exaggeration that okay, you have done this, you have done that, and you can work as a freelancer or freelance web developer by learning web development in 3 months. However, you will fall flat on your face because in 3 months you will just learn the basics. You won't learn the actual intricacies of web development and how to do web development. So in my opinion, in 3 months, yes, you can become a you can learn web development and become a junior web developer or intern web developer as a freelancer or as an intern in a company. But if you want to become a proper full-time web developer, then 3-month course is not enough. You should back it up with a degree and proper certification, which should take almost 1 year to 2 year to degree takes usually 5 years, and you should have at least 1 to 1.5 years of practice of web development as a full stack web developer or front end developer or back end developer. So technically the answer to your question is yes, you can become a web developer intern in 3 months, but you can't get a full-time web developer job in just 3 months. Next question is from Nishi Pandey. She's asking, what are a few pro tips that make a coder's life more productive and fun? Nishi, the first pro tip I would give would be to be social as much as you can. Gone are the days when developers were considered as introverts and they used to just code in their silence and solitude. You should be part of a community. You should be as social as you can. So in my opinion, what the advice which I give to every developer is that be social, be active on Twitter, at least use Twitter for half an hour daily in morning as well as evening. Of course, follow those people who are related to your technology. Follow those people from whom you can learn something, not the movie stars and the politicians. You should follow the people from whom you can learn something, be it an evangelist of your particular technology or be it a YouTuber who creates videos on your technology. So number one pro tip would be that be social, be active on Twitter. Second pro tip would be that avoid reinventing the wheel. So by avoiding reinventing the wheel, I mean to say that look for tools of your trade as much as you can. If you are going to write a data access layer, rather than writing your own data access layer, find a pre-built data access layer of your particular technology available. If you are going to use an ORM, use the most popular one, open source one, which is supported by the community. There is for which more and more support is there. So avoid the temptation of reinventing the wheel or avoid the temptation of creating your own tool, rather than use the tools which are readily available in the market. Because creating your own tool will not only slow down your development or slow down your learning, it will also take lot of your time. So use all the tools which are available in your bucket, or which are available in market, or which are available in the community. Use the most popular one related to your technology. So use as much tools as possible rather than creating your own tools. The third pro tip I would give is that avoid ego clashes. Many developer has ego that I have so many years of experience, I know this thing so well. So in order to avoid ego clashes, I would say that be open to learn always, even if it is from a junior developer. So if even if someone is junior from you, if he is giving you some advice, always open to listen to the advice and see whether you can implement it or not. Maybe that advice is better than what you are implementing. That won't be a problem for you, or it is not a way that the other person is looking down upon you. It's basically he's just giving a suggestion. So be open to more and more ideas, avoid ego clashes as much as you can. Last but not the least, I would say that ask as many questions as you can. So ask as many questions as you can to people whom you know, be it your seniors, be it people in the community. Ask as many questions as you can. But remember, before asking the questions, do proper research about the answer of that question also. That okay, I have applied these ways to solve this particular problem, but I was not able to solve it. Can you suggest me what is the other way or what I am missing? So I think that should be the way to ask your question, rather than asking directly that okay, how can I do this thing? That is not a appropriate question to ask, because how can I do this? You can do that, find that answer by just a Google search. How can I connect to database? Do a Google search, you will get the answer in whatever language you want. But if you are facing some problem with connecting to a database, the question you should ask is that I have tried these many ways to connect to a database in my this language, but I'm not able to do it. Can anyone help me out with a proper solution or suggest me what I am missing? So ask questions as much as you can, but back those questions with proper research. That okay, you have tried your own hands, but you were not able to get answer. That's why you are asking for the questions. Next question is from Nabeen PA. He's asking, what is the difference between web development and SharePoint development? Nabeen, web development is the umbrella term used for developing website or web application using different types of technology. So you are a web developer or you are doing web development even if you are using React.js or Angular or Node.js or Deno or Java or JavaScript or JSP or ASP or Blazor. So there are so many technologies. So if you are creating a website or you are creating a web application, that is called as web development. Whereas SharePoint development is basically a way of adding more features to SharePoint or utilizing the capabilities of SharePoint to solve a particular problem. SharePoint is a product by Microsoft. It is kind of a file server, kind of a CMS. I don't completely know about the whole uses of SharePoint, but it has plethora of uses and you can customize that uses as per a web application or a website if you need. I have seen many people use SharePoint as a web application, as a backend or as a CMS for their other kind of application which they are using internally. So SharePoint development is basically a way of adding more features to your SharePoint server, whichever is hosted on your company or whichever is hosted publicly. So SharePoint development is basically adding more features to SharePoint using a programming language. Most of the time it is .NET or web forms, but generally you are using C#, VBA. So those kind of languages and programming, those kind of languages and frameworks basically you use to add more features to your SharePoint deployment. So SharePoint development is nothing but adding more features to SharePoint or using SharePoint to develop a customized application for your purpose. Next question is from Samir. He's asking, what is .NET Web versus .NET Desktop development? Samir, you need to watch that video of mine where I have explained that the capabilities of .NET and what all you can do using .NET. However, let me answer your question here also, that .NET web development is basically you are using .NET technologies to create a website or web application. So the .NET technology which are responsible or which help you create a website or web application are ASP.NET. These are basically sub frameworks of .NET, that is ASP.NET, Blazor, ASP.NET MVC. These three frameworks are basically the most common ones, which or I would say that the most popular ones, which are used to create web applications or websites using .NET technology, and that's why they are also called as .NET web frameworks, or you can say that you do .NET web development using these technologies. .NET desktop development is basically developing a desktop application which you can download and install on your laptop or desktop or on your machine. So the popular .NET framework which is used for desktop development is WinForms, which is used for creating Windows desktop applications. So the most popular one is of course WinForms, and it is the oldest one also. Then apart from WinForms, there are other frameworks also like WPF, Avalonia UI, UWP, Uno. So using not Uno, sorry, UWP, Avalonia UI and WPF, using these three technologies you can create desktop applications. Using Avalonia UI you can create cross-platform desktop applications using .NET framework, and using UWP and WPF, again just like WinForms, you can create Windows based desktop applications. So basically .NET web development needs the knowledge of like a .NET web developer needs to know about ASP.NET, Blazor, or ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET Web API, so those kind of things. And a .NET Windows developer or a .NET desktop developer should know about WinForms, UWP, or WPF. Next question is from Himanshu Kansal. He's asking, how important is competitive programming to become a successful entrepreneur in the tech domain? Himanshu, in my opinion, it's not at all important to be a competitive programmer in order to become a successful entrepreneur in technical domain or tech domain. Competitive programming is in most of the cases used by programmers either to gauge their programming skills or to get a job, not to be a tech entrepreneur. So most of the competitive programmers are basically working as an employee in a tech company. Of course, they get some kind of shares or equity if they are joining a startup at an early age, but usually they are high paying, highly paid laborers. So basically by doing competitive programming, you are either become a competitor. It's just like playing a competitive sports. So competitive programming is kind of a competitive sports where you are showcasing your programming acumen, that you are such a so and so good programmer, you can solve a problem in like such a small time, and so on and so forth. So basically I don't think that competitive programming is required to be a successful entrepreneur. To be a successful entrepreneur, you should have a good domain knowledge, you should have good business acumen, you should have good presentation skills, you should have good communication skills to explain about your product, your services which you are selling, and of course you should have all the other strategies required to sell your product and services rather than just the technical you can say competitive programming skills. So I don't think competitive programming is important to become a successful tech entrepreneur. Next question is from Dheeraj. He's asking, I am having 10 years of experience in Windows application development, WPF.NET. I am offered a data analytics project in current company. Would it be good idea to take it? How much is the learning curve? Dheeraj, are you getting a good growth opportunity when you are getting this opportunity of data analytics? If yes, then of course you should go for it, because data analytics and machine learning are kind of the future. And if your company is sponsoring your learning, then I think you shouldn't consider about how much is the learning curve. You should just jump right behind into it, because as some successful person has said that if opportunity asks you and you don't know about the answer, you should go for it and learn about it later on. In the same way, instead of considering that how much is the learning curve, in my opinion you should grab that opportunities with both of your hands and learn whatever way possible your company is teaching you. So to answer your question, would it be a good idea to take it? Yes, it would be a great idea to take it. You should move ahead if your company is giving this opportunity. Of course, if it is giving a pay raise, that's also added bonus. So in my opinion, yes, it is a good idea to take it. And number two, how much is the learning curve? Frankly speaking, learning curve will be there, but again, it won't be that much tough which you can't handle. But apart, like I can tell you that learning curve will be based on what kind of prior experience you have. If you are good in mathematics, if you are good in databases, then probably the learning curve will be less for you. But if you are not good in those, then probably there will be slightly more learning curve. But I think you shouldn't worry much about learning curve. It is a good opportunities, you are getting it, especially your company is sponsoring it, so I would say go for it. These were my answers to your tech and career related queries in this episode of Techie Tuesdays. If you want your questions to be answered in next episode of Techie Tuesdays, you can DM me your questions with hashtag Techie Tuesdays on any social media platform. All my social media handles are Techie Rathor. I hope you like my answers, and if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. So until my next video, take care, bye bye.